Action. Hi guys. Welcome to another episode of Thinker's Diary. As you know, Thinker's Diary is a space where we happen to have open-ended conversations, the kind of conversations that we happen to have 2 a.m., 3 a.m., when no one is listening, when no one is hearing us, and it's just those thoughts in our head that we don't happen to have answers to. And as you know, it is not a debate show. It is just where we happen to have open conversations. We happen to understand each other's perspectives, each other's opinions, and we happen to see each other's views. Yeah, so your favorite host, not even your favorite self. I'm sure he is your favorite, but I'm your host, Crescent, and then my co-host here. And with us, we have a guest who have never happened to see before until this very moment. She's someone who happens to put out intellectual content. Our content are quite mature. That seeing her on my up of my FYP has made me want to have a conversation with her, and that is why she's on this episode of Thinker's Diary. Her name is Valentina, if I'm right.
Yes,
Okay, yeah. So Valentina, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Are you sure you're fine?
I'm good.
What makes you think you're fine? Because right now you're looking radiant, so I think you're fine.
Yeah, I'm fine actually.
Anyways, without wasting too much of time, the conversation we literally want to have today is all about overthinking and intuition. How do you happen to tell the difference between the both of it? So before we dive into the conversations we happen to have today, which involves overthinking versus intuition, how do you happen to tell? We have a normal tradition where we say, "This were my diary." Today, I would say. So my own end, if this were my diary today, I would write how good I feel about today. I don't know. Today has been a lot for me, but at the same time, so I still feel good. I feel positive because of this particular episode. This particular topic on its own is a topic that needs a lot of indulgence. It needs to be talked about carefully. And of course, you're not going to debate about it because that's not what we do here. We're just going to understand each other's point of view. We're going to see from each other's lenses and understand that, oh, yes, this is exactly how I happen to view overthinking. And this is how I happen to view intuition. So, if this were your diary, what would you say today?
So my diary today, I'd say I'm feeling good. I feel good. I'm supposed to sleep.
When is tired already? And she just got here, to be very honest. She just got here but she's tired. Anyways, Valentina, we happen to say that. So if this were your diary today, what would you say?
I would say, why do we trust our legs so much?
Why do you trust your legs so much? I know
I mean, like when you wake up and you just already feel like I can walk.
I can
and
walk.
You start walking, or when you are running and you trust that your leg is going to carry you. So why do we actually does a little bit? So why do we actually trust our legs so much?
That's true. Not that I'm thinking about it. Why did I even trust my hands? Why did I trust my mouth? Because I've actually been in my house for a whole day. I didn't say what to myself. And it was
And
later
your
in the
voice.
night. It was later in the night when I was about to pray. Then I said Allah Akbar and I said, oh,
So
I can talk. So I still know how to talk. But let's not divert from the conversation we are having today. The conversation we are having today talks about overthinking and intuition. How do we happen to tell? To be very honest, I don't know if it's my intuition that is speaking or it is my fear that is protecting me. I happen to be in some certain scenarios whereby I have this gut feeling, and then having this gut feeling, the next thing I start questioning myself that, oh, am I even sure that this gut feeling is actually right, or I'm just being I'm not doing protective of myself at that moment just because I have seen something play out before. How exactly do you view that?
I feel like for me, yeah, there's a certain way I know that I'm overthinking, and there's a certain way I know that, oh,
it is my intuition. So let's say, for example, now I'm writing exams here, and I've definitely read before the exams, and my mind is like, the answer is B.
Mm.
But because I'm writing exams and I'm not quite sure of the answer, how am I sure the answer is B? So I'm like, let me ask my friend, and my friend says, oh, the answer is C. Then I go back outside and I check, and I'm like, the answer is B. Then I was like, I should have just
She just answered yours as
that is where I know that. So like when you're in a position where you have to like make choices, the first thought that comes to your mind is always the right. That's like the always, because that's like the first thing your intuition predicts. So like that is always right. When you know you're overthinking is where you start to have like different thoughts about it.
yeah.
Thinking intuition is just once, it just comes once and that's it. When I'm writing the exam or when I was picking the answer, after that time I will not feel the answer is B because I've already like shifted to it might be. Yes. But overthinking is like that. That is when I start to like overthink. My mind has already told me this thing is B. But you're like, oh no. What if it's not B?
Yeah.
You know, like what if I'm just what if I'm overthinking it? Yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Valentina, how exactly do you tell if you're having an intuition at the moment or you're just overthinking a scenario?
If I'm calm, just like she said, if you're calm and there are thoughts coming in, that's your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are overthinking, you are spiraling like mad.
Oh, really?
You're thinking about the worst case
scenario.
You're thinking about, your mind is everywhere. But when it's your intuition, it comes when you're calm. And when I'm trying to calm myself, is I'll just, I'll sit down, I'll just take a deep breath, and I'm going to be like, just calm down first. And then when the first thing that comes in is what I'm going to take. Yeah.
When you say you have a bad feeling, how does it feel like to you physically? Does it feel like panic or does it feel like peace?
Panic.
When you say you have a bad feeling, it feels like panic to you.
Panic.
Why? Why is that?
A bad feeling is supposed to make you panic. So, yeah.
Or do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. The bad feeling there's this uncertain fear in you when that feeling comes. Like maybe let me say for example, when everybody's checking their results.
Okay.
And you obviously know you did not write that exam, but you know. It will be very like pleaded.
Oh my God, you're ringing memories.
Oh, yeah, just pleading for the grace of God. So you see that fear in you where you're like,
Yeah, she didn't.
Jesus, should I open this?
And the Potter is not doing nonsense.
You just have to think, oh my God. So like that's uncertainty period. That's the panic you get.
Oh, all right. I like that. And to be very honest, has your intuition ever been wrong? Have you ever had an intuition before, and it just turned out to be wrong?
Yeah, so I love right. That's never been wrong because I feel like how do I explain it? There's this concept of the mind. That's why they always say that you should like believe in yourself.
Okay.
When you don't have like full belief in yourself, you start to like spiral. You start to like think of different things. Like you're not putting your mind on just one thing.
Yeah.
Therefore, like the answer cannot come to you.
Definitely.
You get it's like when you're like writing exams, you read and you know the answer is A. But if you don't truly believe that you actually read and you know that thing, you would pick other options definitely because you don't know. You don't trust what you've done. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's it. My intuition has never been wrong. Like, this person is going to behave somehow. The person will actually behave somehow.
Valentina, do you have anything to say concerning that? Or intuition never been wrong before?
Never, ever.
So it's more like
Sometimes, when I think about something and I feel like, oh, this is actually bad to think of. And then I'll tell myself, I'll gaslight myself into saying, okay, maybe it's a lie. Maybe I'm just cooking things.
Yeah, no,
but then at the end of the day, it just turns out to be that the first thought I had about that stuff was right.
Yeah, to me, I view intuition as a feeling of knowing. It's just a sensation or a particular feeling when I have to just do that. Oh, I know this particular thing. It's just if I happen to find myself in a particular environment where I have this gut feeling within myself that I shouldn't be here, and I have this counter feeling too that comes as and say that, why do you think you should not be here? Is it because this place looks like, oh, this particular place that you were before and they came around and they packed the body or something bad happened in that particular place? This place, it might looks like that, but I don't think is that is exactly what's gonna happen here now. So do you actually have to go away from this particular place? And then I start telling myself that yes, I know it actually looks like that particular, but what I'm feeling right now is what I think I should feel at the moment, and it should not even be different. And I think there's one thing that intuition actually has. Intuition itself, if sometimes when you don't listen to your intuition, you can actually pay the price for it. Do you believe that? Has that ever happened to you before?
Yeah, it does. For example, like maybe when I want to like go out for something and my mind's like, don't do this, don't enter this bus. Just wait, just hold on. But because where I'm going to be late, I'm going to be this. Then I enter the bus breaks down. Now I have to wait to now look for another bus.
Okay.
I could have just waited, gotten a proper bus, got to my destination on time. It gets so like that's just it. Intuition it doesn't have a second feeling.
Okay.
Just comes once. And once it comes, you would know. It's like you said, it's a knowing feeling. Like when it comes once, you know that yes, this is how. So
Is yeah.
with overthinking, the mind is fitting
Mm.
option is it's not just option, there are various options you get. There are different like fittings of various options, so that's just the difference I see. It has
I think I get that. I get that particular perspective because sometimes I happen to, like what I was saying before now, whenever it is I have things like that, I used to tell myself, is this still intuition or is it pattern recognition? Just because I've seen a particular scenario play in the past, does that mean is exactly what's going to happen in that moment? But do you have anything to say to contribute to that from your own end?
No, actually.
You should have, to you, your intuition has never been wrong before, and
Oh.
on you.
Yes, I mentioned before that it just when time I think about something for the first time, it is never wrong. It has to be the truth. It is never wrong. And sometimes I just have to, try to gaslight myself into thinking that maybe I'm overthinking this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, has your intuition ever been because of an unresolved pain? As it maybe because you have an unresolved conflict with somebody, and then maybe you happen to hang out with them, and then all of a sudden you're feeling like, I think this person doesn't have my best interest at time. I don't think I should be in the same space with this particular person.
My problem is I am very forgiving and I let things go easily. So yes, you have to show me shaggy upon shaggy before
you can
yes,
tell that.
exactly. So
I think I've had enough.
exactly. So I don't always like I said, I don't always like judge immediately.
Okay.
That's the thing.
How about you?
okay, so back to back over balance and tie. I feel like it is overthinking actually because one thing about me is I can't
So you feel that particular feeling is overthinking and not the intuition?
I
Okay.
feel like one thing about me is whenever I have like a problem with someone, per se,
Okay.
the lot of things are spiraling in my mind. Because this person actually hated me. What if they were? What if this wasn't how they felt? What if so like I start to like think in the person's perspective and also think from my own perspective. So I don't reach like a definite solution. Yeah. So I just like feel I'm overthinking it. So when I now like probably like have a conversation with the person is like, oh no, this was not what I meant. This was not what I felt. This was what was hard for me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that way like works. Do you get so that way I do a lot actually. That's why I'm like probably able to like tackle it because I know that when it comes to that's why I don't like having arguments with people because I'm always at the suffering end. You can be sleeping in your house and me, I'm not able to sleep. So no, it's not possible. I like to sleep too.
And I also want to mention that overthinking is actually addictive. Like it is very sweet.
Yes.
You want to just be there, your Lululand.
Your whole feeling will be there. You happen to feel that you know what?
What if I did like this?
What if I didn't? What if I didn't say anything?
What if I didn't say anything?
So I just kept quiet.
Yeah.
How would they have played out? Yeah.
No, there's this thing that happens with somebody when you are maybe you're in a particular space, or maybe you have a particular job at hand, and then you could sometimes just have this thoughts coming to your head that just says, I feel like I should leave this job. Now tell me, when people happen to have this thinking, is it just a thought that comes once in a while, or have you been having that thoughts for longest of time? Does it just come based on your mood, or
I feel
is it
like
something that happens for the longest of
I
time?
feel like it's actually the conditions around it, and I feel like it depends. For example, now I got a job that was actually my first ever job, and it was social media management.
Okay.
And I know that I hate anything that has to do with social media managing. Like I do not like it. I just like to like do things that I just do. So also the person I was working for was someone that she saw our work as that's where I eat from. That's
Okay.
where I do my things from. So nobody can like do it anyhow. And I think I got job around like August. And by September I thought I wasn't doing it again. Now when I was getting told I wasn't doing it, it was a random Friday. It got to the point of and I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
You saying that you telling the person that, oh, you weren't going to do the job again, was it just based on the work environment, the way the work was it something that you were thinking about for the longest of time before you could make that decision, or it just happened randomly because you felt like, you know what, I cannot, because something happened maybe prior to that particular time when you said you were not doing it again, and then you just said, in fact, I'm not doing it again, I'm off. How was it?
First I was like I was believing that I could grow in the job because everybody's like, oh, you learn on the job. So I was thinking that yes, I can learn on like people are learning on this job. Why will I have to be different? So it was like that. Still, something happened. I think something repeatedly happened actually. There was something that happened, and it was like a technical issue
Okay.
from my side that happened. So that was the problem I had. So I'm like, why wait here when this technical issue is going to continue happening?
Okay.
And I'm going to have to continue going through this feeling over and over again.
Yeah.
Just call it quits.
Oh, that's nice. What about you?
For me, if I don't fit in, like if I just don't like, I like to do something that I like.
Okay.
I don't want it to feel like an actual job. Do you understand? So I always tell people, every job, like you are going to get burnt out. Find something that you like. Every job will stress you. Just find something that you like and stick with it. So that even when you're stressed, I still like this thing. Safe. Let me be here. So I don't work for vibes because it will just tell you will know that this person is upset. So it doesn't even have to be about the environment, how I'm being treated. If I don't like it, I don't like it, and it's going to reflect. So I don't work for vibes, and the thing is, it marvels me when I see people do jobs like you're constantly complaining that you don't like this job, and you're still there. Why are you there?
Like I'm not gonna lie, I
It's
feel
a form of self-care for me. Like, if I don't like it, don't vamos, I'll go. I'll leave. So, yeah.
that's just it. Like when I left the job, I noticed that way was not my way. So I went to my way. And now even if like call me like 12 a.m. and say, oh, you have to do this because of my line of job, I will stand up because I love it. I love doing it. It's something that brings me so much joy. But at that time, if you come in at 7 o'clock, I will bite you because my work is 9 to 5. So don't come up at that time. So like that was it.
Okay, yeah, I actually like that. I read somewhere where they said overthinking is the barrier that you create around the thoughts that you don't like to project forward. And intuition is those constant thoughts that you happen to have consistently. So having to differentiate the both is very important. So I have this family member who was together with his wife for 3 good years, and no, before the dating phase, and even when they even got married, things were literally rosy. They used to, do cute things to one another and everything. But as the third year was closing together, he started noticing a change in his wife. They don't happen to communicate like before. They don't happen to do the little gestures that they normally do to one another. Even when he even tries to make advances or do things that they normally used to do when they were in the dating phase, she wasn't utterly interested. She's always claiming she's busy, not wanting to really engage with him like that. And all those period you always thought that, oh, maybe she's just busy, maybe she just has a lot of things going on with her at work, and because family pressure of, oh, you're in a marriage, blah blah blah, why is this not how they, and why have you guys not settled down and bring forth something together. Those were his thoughts. So not until their third anniversary, when the wife told him that she has been seeing somebody else right in that marriage, you get. So at that moment, he happened to realize that he had the gut feeling that, okay, what if it's actually something different from all the things I've actually been thinking about. He had the gut feeling, he had the intuition of, what if there's actually something wrong? What if my wife doesn't love me anymore? But at that moment, he didn't want to believe it. All he had in his head was, it could just be because of this reason. This is the reason why she's actually being like this towards me. This is the reason why she's being distant. This is the reason why she has not been engaged with me as before. So that alone tells what intuition actually looks like. Intuition to me are those exact thoughts that you try to block out consistently, but they keep on coming. And then where overthinking happen to comes alongside it is when you happen to convince yourself otherwise, that, oh, it is not exactly this way, it is because of this particular reason. You happen to start giving excuses for other people's reaction, and they happen to tell us, say that, oh, maybe I am not even doing better, or maybe I'm not getting at moments, maybe I'm not just seeing it the way I'm actually meant to see it. So that's in itself tells how to actually differentiate intuition and overthinking. And to be very honest, I will not lie, even on my own aspect, I still find it hard. Sometimes I find it hard to differentiate if I am actually being intuitive at the moment, or I'm just overthinking a particular scenario. So
I would like to say that overthinking is people trying to feel safe. You know, when
Trying to create a safe bubble.
yeah,
exactly.
I feel
So
like
you think
personal
about
is something that
worst
creates
things, just so that even when it happens,
It's not something new.
yes, it's not shocking to us.
more like it is something that you have. Overthinking is something that you happen to create, whereas intuition is something that is already there.
Is there?
It's already there, whether you like it or not. It's actually going to come outside, and then it will keep on replaying in your head. It is not left to you to now.
So now, when you start to overthink, you're not trying to be, oh, let me be safe about this whole thing. Let me have different options. Do you understand?
Yeah, I suppose that's all. I
Exactly.
feel like regarding like the story you said, that story you came up with, the husband, yeah, you just wanted to trust his wife.
Yes, exactly. That was another aspect.
There was definitely that gut feeling. He just wanted to trust his wife. I knew that most times, due to occurrences, like frequent occurrences of when you start to remove yourself from a particular setting,
Okay.
people will start to think you are doing something else. That was where the thoughts came up of what if. But at that point, he didn't want to trust his what if. He wanted to trust, oh, she said she
Yeah.
say. That's where I am too. They're like, so when they says, what's their line? They said that. I trust them for what they said that.
Okay.
So if and I find out that, oh, it is not they said that, I won't be angry. I'm trusting you for just saying that. So that is on you. You get. So
Yeah.
like that shows like his intuition at that point was like it was based on occurrences that normally happen.
Yeah, I like that. And I was going to ask this question, and I think I'll use that to just take away this particular conversation. Do you think intuition comes with physical attributes?
Yes, I said it's possible that it comes in physical attributes.
Okay.
I'm not really paying attention to that. I can't say for me.
You don't pay attention to it at all. Wow, that's crazy. What about you?
I feel there are physical attributes to intuition because sometimes, for example, when I like feel like someone has a bad energy around me, my mind is telling me, oh, okay, don't associate with this person.
You have this. Your body feels
If
somehow.
I fortunately start to sneeze around you, you're a bad person.
Really?
Yes, you're a bad person. I will continue to say that means you're a bad person. Okay, so yeah, that's just like I give certain reactions to like certain people. Yeah, so
So on this episode, I think we've been able to understand how intuition happens to work and how overthinking happens to work. So if you are actually watching this and you've been finding it quite difficult on how to differentiate the two from one another, how to tell if whatever feeling you have is intrusive thoughts or it is just your normal critical thoughts whereby you have to overthink things over and over again. I think this is your cue of understanding the difference between the both of them. Like I said, overtaking it on its own is something you happen to create from the series of things that you happen to see. Whereas intuition is just the thought that is already there. It is there. But it does happen to come outside as time goes on. So thank you very much for watching this episode of Thinker's Diary. And we'll see you next time on the next episode. Please don't forget to engage. Please like, subscribe, and tell us whatever it is you feel on this episode. Tell us how we happen to tell the difference between overthinking and intuition. See you on the next point.